Hello and welcome, crochet friends, to G, that's me, Geraldine, G Crochet Off the Hook, sharing my love of crochet off the hook. And this week I wanted to share some of the progress that I have been able to complete, and that is for my WIP, which is a Mosaic WIP at the moment, as well as 2 cowl blankets. And then we also have a grumpy bear off the hook. So let's have a look at the progress with the crochet along blankets. And the first one I have here, which I recently got to finish, was our Builder Blanket 2026 with Litzer from Coco's Crochet. Some of you may know that I did a little yarn haul because I realized when I started this particular blanket that I was actually using a chunky, and for that particular yarn I didn't have very much on hand, so of course there had to be a little yarn haul, except our combo 5 asked for a variegated yarn, and in this particular brand of yarn they don't have any variegated yarn. So I was able to dig into my tub that I usually set aside for some winter warm chunky makes with beanies and find a skein of variegated yarn. So I'm happy to say that with all the rows round, because I'm making a square, so far I have been with a 5.5 millimeter hook, and this yarn that I was able to dig up, and I've used the whole skein of it, worked well with the 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So let's have a look. There it is. It does have what may look like a little bit of yellow, but it's predominantly sort of a cream, light, dark gray, and a browny color. But I think it goes quite well with the rest of the blanket. So this is our combo 5 with a variegated yarn. And I must say, with using the chunky yarn, it has a lovely weight to it, because this one and the next one I'm going to show you are both earmarked to be lap blankets. So there we go. Our combo 1, purple, pink, the blue, the yellow, and this variegated. Now I don't remember if I did. This was a yarn that I've used many times for beanies. It's called Valinka Prior. I think it says made in Czech Republic. And the cover color was just a color number 119. And this was what I had left of it. That was the yarn. And I'm loving the surprises that we are getting with our blanket cowls. So that I can tuck away. And then the second crochet along blanket is with Lynn from Lynn Penguin's Creations. And Lynn is using the play of dice to let us know what it is that we need to use stitch-wise and color-wise for our blanket. And just a day ago, yesterday, she did roll the dice for us again, and we were made aware that we need to stay with the same color, and the stitch that was rolled was the single crochet stitch. And how many rows did we need to do of single crochet? Well, we only needed to do 2. And I'm actually very grateful that that is the stitch that was rolled, because this is the blanket. We had the popcorn, the V-stitch again, the moss stitch, then the V-stitch, and now the single crochet. And I do believe I needed something like the single crochet just to keep those edges of the blanket nice and straight, because the beginning of the blanket is very heavy, I've mentioned before, with a popcorn stitch in the middle. And this one is also, surprisingly, feeling heavier and heavier on the lap, which I love, because not only does the yarn give a lovely warmth to it, but the weight from the different stitches that we are using is also giving a feeling of comfort. And I was thinking, as it's grown and I've been able to crochet with it on my lap, that this would actually be a wonderful sort of fidget blanket to have on your lap, with the textures from having started this with the popcorn stitch right in the middle. So that is our second blanket crochet along. And again, I think I've gone out of sequence, but this one I have switched to a 5.5, and I did that for especially when I worked on the moss stitch. And now I've stuck with the 5.5, which means that it is stretching quite nicely to keep it square shape. So both these blankets for the crochet alongs are now being, I'm using a 5.5. And a quick recall, the yarn I'm using for Lynn's roller row is the Elite Yarn Snowball DK. And the one for our Build a Blanket with Litza, I'm initially using Kismet's Knitspiration Chunky. And if we do have another variegated drawn, I will go hunting again. Otherwise, I'm hoping that of the other colors that I have with the Knitspiration Chunky might be the one that we put onto this blanket. Okay, then my WIP blanket, which is the Mosaic. It is a free pattern. It's called Concerning Habits. It's with Robin Parent, who is Crochet with May. That's the one that I'm doing. And I am using the colors black, a 3.5mm hook. It's in this project bag of mine, and it does look like quite a mess in there, which is why I'm pulling my strands through the little eyelets on the top here. But the plain colored yarn that I'm using is from Al Saprotex Chick DK yarn, and the solid color I'm using is black. And this lovely big cake, if I don't let it disintegrate, because it is collapsing on itself now. The first colorway that I'm using is called Titsy Karma, and this is the Kismet long print DK. And this is where we're pulling from now, blue, and then it looks like we're going to a, that almost looks, well, almost green, because it's sort of the blue and the brown mixed to a brown, and we're going to end on a red. And then the second cake that I have is a different colorway I did share right in the beginning. That's tucked away, but I'll pull it out once we get all of this off the hook. And currently I'm about to start row 80 of 269 rows to go. And this is how we are looking. So we can definitely see the posts now. They are all complete on both the left and the right hand side. And that was our, well, excuse me, because that is totally upside down. That looks better. The posts are finished at the bottom on both sides. There was our pathway that splits into two, and I have started with the first of the houses. There's one window complete. There's our little door. Knock, knock, anybody home? Not quite yet. Another little window. And on this side, the fence posts are finished, and I do believe we will start with another little house over here. So, not controlling the cake colors, obviously. So, after this blue, we're going to sort of fade into a brown, and then into that sort of soft red orangey color, and then we will be starting a whole other cake. I think that cake it's coming to me is called Garden Root, and the colors are sort of similar. So I'm quite pleased. Progress is slow. This is my F1 blanket. So as the weekend rolls round, even though there will be a break after this weekend's race, I will still continue to work on this one over the weekends. So there we go. There is another blanket, which is the Sweet Dreams baby blanket. That one I have actually completed, and it's busy drying. I couldn't wait. I am so in love with it. So I had to get it into the machine and give it a gentle wash, and that is busy drying. So next week I'll definitely share that one with you. And on to our last little project that I was able to finish is our Grumpy Bear. Now, Grumpy Bear is a bear designed by Cassandra from Craftably Ever After. It's a paid-for pattern in her various shops. This one I definitely got from Etsy. And every month we've had, from January to June, Grumpy Bear has been showing off some beautiful accessories that are available for free on Cassandra's blog. Now for July, he's not really fooling me because he has his grumpy expression, but I tell you what, he's in his element because Grumpy Bear has gone fishing, and there he is. We are in this house absolutely in love with Grumpy Bear gone fishing. And even though we have two girls, our girls have gone fishing. I've gone fishing with hubby many times, and camping and fishing, and I'm sure that Grumpy Bear could absolutely be their mascot. So for July, we have used his overall, which is already one of the free patterns. We've used his hat and modified it just slightly. He looks very chic with his fishing hat on. I chose to do brand new overalls for him, sort of like in this. This is all the yarn used here is Al Saprotex's Charity. For these makes, I normally use a 2.5 millimeter hook, but I used a 3 millimeter hook. And I used a colorway called Fox Brown for his little overall. And then I used Basil for his pocket, his boots, and his hat. And then his backpack, because of course, if you have ever been fishing, you know that there's quite a few little things that you take along with you. and he definitely needed his backpack. Now the backpack I did in bright orange because although you might want to be camouflaged, depending if you're fishing in the sea or alongside a river or at a lake, the fishermen do often wear sort of like camouflaged clothes, but your accessories, you are sure to have them bright, because if you put this down in long grass or in the bush somewhere and you've sort of wandered off from your spot where you are, you know, as you're trailing along down the river because you're actually walking along with the fish to find where they're going to bite. When you turn around and come back for your backpack, it's a good idea to have it in a very bright color so you can spot it from a distance and know that you're walking in the right direction. So Grumpy Bear also has these quick little fish in this month's pattern as well. I used a bamboo stick. I've actually podged a little bit of darning thread on here and then obviously onto the fish. And yep, this is one of our favorite makes so far this year. They are all fun and fabulous, but this one was an absolute hit with everybody in the house. Now I did have a little bit of an oopsie again. This happens every now and then. I haven't been making as much amigurumi as I normally do. So what did I struggle with again this time? Well, it was the boots. One was perfect. The second one that I made, I'm just going to put him down on the side here for a second. The second boot, I don't know why, but it looked like something stung his foot and I was making an oversized boot for the second leg. So I made a third one, which is what's on there now. But I didn't want to really get rid of, you can see I was heading in the wrong direction with this one. I must have been so happy that my tension was completely off. So this one was definitely way too big for his leg there. But what I did was I took the boot and I actually just brought the tip of the boot to the top edge and crocheted on 2 little straps. And I made this his fishing basket. So now he can just keep all his fish that he catches in his little fishing basket. And that was just from the boot. And somewhere along the line we had an extra little fish. So there we go. Even from our mistakes sometimes we can create a little accessory. So he has his bag that he's ready to fill up with some fish. So there we go. It has been quite a fun week gone by and a lot of cold weather coming up this week still. And I can't wait to just get sitting down in a quiet spot with a hot cup of cocoa and cracking on with my Mosaic blanket. There is some more Christmas extravaganza. I think there's one set to release on Friday, and there is still a project that I'm working on as well. So I do hope to see you in any one of those other videos. And for the rest of your week, I wish you, well, cool weather in the north. And if you are down south and it's getting cold, make sure to grab your favorite hot beverage and a project on your lap to keep you busy. Until I see you all again soon, do take care. Bye for now.